All right, how's it going, Wolfpack? I hope you guys are doing good. Today is Wednesday, August 9th, 2017. And I'm here in Portland. It's a Portland summer day, and it is freaking hot. Like dripping sweat right now. It's like 90s and 100s all week. And for Portland, that's not usual. It's usually not even close to that hot. So everyone in Portland is dying right now. So if you don't hear from me again, I overheated. So this is my third video blog. And for this week, I just wanted to talk about my influences as a musician, kind of what my history is musically and how I got to where I am stylistically and stuff like that. Thought it'd be kind of fun to take you guys through that journey. So I probably like the earliest form of music that I listened to was like old school gospel music. I grew up like I went to an old like kind of black gospel church as a kid, and like old like musically it was kind of old school. And so they listened, or my dad would always listen to like a lot of like Mahalia Jackson, and like at the church would be like Kirk Franklin and like modern gospel, even like Ty Tribbett and stuff like that. So I listened to a lot of gospel, and that was kind of like, I want to say, the first initial music influence on me. Gospel music really encapsulates the emotion of the song. Like if you listen to a gospel song, you never question what's being talked about. I feel like in the first chord of a gospel song, you always know exactly what the song is going to be about. If it's like a super pumped up, song, it's like immediate, it, like boom, like I know what this song's about in the first few seconds. And if it's like a sad, mournful kind of like cry for help song, it's the first chord, same thing, you just feel it. And so in the same way, I feel like when I write my music, I really like, I just wore the emotion of it on my sleeve, and I was like, all right, this song is a depression song, so boom, like it from the first 2 seconds. Or this song's a happy song, so like boom, it, and like the chord progressions and just kind of the way the song plays out. So that's definitely my first biggest influence in music. And then after that, I started listening to a lot of like John Mayer and The Fray and Coldplay, probably like middle school, first part of high school. And that is definitely where I get a lot of my music is super piano driven, and that's because of The Fray, and that's because of Coldplay. And then song wise, I really, really, really respect John Mayer and the way he writes and the way he performs. I think he's an amazing artist and super talented, super smart. He knows what he's doing. He's not just some dude, like he's a really smart guy. I respect that a ton, and I respect the way he does his music. So I modeled a lot of like my writing, I guess, after the way that those guys would write, and even the ways they would perform. Like I would watch Coldplay performances as a kid, and still, to be honest, and I would just like bawl, because that's like I just want to do that so bad, and that's always been the desire of my heart, is to be a musician and to bring what Coldplay does live, specifically like where they connect with the emotion of the song in such a raw way that people can feel it, and people like are at their shows and people freaking bawl their eyes out when Fix You comes on, because it's a song that's real. And I never want to be someone else, but there's things of different artists that you like emulate and you want to carry in your music, and that's something that Coldplay does that I really want, and The Fray and John Mayer too, with just the way they write their songs. I love that. Yeah, and then when I got into like later in high school and in college, I got really into hip hop. Like Logic is my favorite hip hop artist for sure. I have his Under Pressure album on my wall in my studio. It's like the only other artist album artwork that I have up in my studio, or even in my like probably in my house in general. And I love Logic. I love what he's done. I think he's a really good hip hop artist, and I respect him a lot. And like I said about John Mayer, just there's artists that I really like think are just nailing it, and I think he's one of them. Logic just released his like third like official album, I think it was. It's really good. And so hip hop was like definitely a big part of my music formation. When I was in college, I worked at the Dream Center in LA, which is like a community development program, and they work with kids who are like in gangs or like trying to not be in gangs and trying to stay out of that scene. And you kind of like, it's a big brother program where you kind of just like hang out with these kids, get to know them, love on them, show them that there's kind of an alternative way to live. But hip hop was greatly in that culture, and like I'd get there like 9 a.m. every Saturday. We'd go, and there would be like hip hop blaring out of these kids' houses because their parents would be playing like old school stuff or whatever, like the Chronic and stuff like that. And so it was a huge part of their culture, like, and so I think it became a huge part of mine, because I really fell in love with that culture and the projects and like those kids and those families, and I really fell in love with just like the hope that was brought, that just to show these kids that there's a different way of life. But hip hop became a huge part of that journey for me. So I think that kind of describes my musical like history of like what influenced me. And then I think if you listen to my music now, that really makes sense, because you can hear the piano kind of stuff with like the phrase influence and Coldplay and John Mayer and like the singer-songwriter kind of vibes. But then also kind of the beats and stuff I do are very hip-hop driven and R&B driven, and that's kind of from like the later period, more developmental stages of my life, when hip-hop was greatly influencing like my musical style. So I try to really infuse like the beautifulness of piano-driven music and then like the edginess and the lyrical creativity of hip-hop. And so yeah, it's kind of my musical style. So I wanted to do something kind of cool too. I wanted to play you guys, just perform a live, unedited cover of my favorite John Mayer song. So hope you guys like it. I appreciate you listening. Sign up for my mailing list if you're not already part of it. It's on my website in the I think the tab is contact or live or something like that. I don't know. No, connect with Zach. I think that's the tab. But yeah, I really appreciate it. And my song Brother just came out, and then my next album is coming out in about 3 months. We'll be done with it now, and we'll be touring it all over the West Coast. So it's gonna be big. Yep. And this is a John Mayer song, and I'll leave it up to you to figure out which one it is.
It's not a silly little moment. It's not the storm before the calm. This is a deep and dying breath of this love that we've been working on. Can't seem to hold you like I want to, so I can feel you in my arms. Nobody's gonna come and save you. We pulled too many false alarms. We're going down, and you can see it too now. We're going down. Well, you know that we're doomed, my dear. We're slow dancing in a burning room. I was the one you always dreamed of. You were the one I tried to draw. How dare you say it's not to me? Baby, you're the only light I ever saw. I make the most of all the sadness. You be a bitch because you can. You try to hit me just to hurt me. See it leave me feeling dirty cause you can't understand. We're going down. You can see it too now. We're going down. Well, you know that we're doomed, my dear. We're slow dancing in a burning room, yeah. Ooh. Do you think you ought to know it by now? Do you think you could have learned somehow? Do you think you ought to know it by now? Do you think you could have learned somehow? Do you think you ought to know it by now? Do you think you could have learned somehow? My dear, we're slow dancing in the burning room. My dear, we're slow dancing in the burning room.